Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to peek under the hood of something truly fascinating, an entire AI operating system that's been built to live and, well, think right inside a WordPress website. We're going to deconstruct its architecture, but not just as lines of code. We're going to treat it like a digital organism.
So here's our game plan. We're breaking this tour down into 5 key parts. We'll start with how the system has 2 minds, then see how they're wired together. After that, we'll explore its autonomous heartbeat, get our heads around its unified memory, and finally, look at how it actually senses the world around it.
Okay, let's dive right in. The very first thing we have to understand is the core problem. The fundamental challenge that this entire system was engineered to solve.
And that problem is really this. How in the world do you build a single AI that can do 2 totally different things at the same time? It needs to talk to a user, think strategically, make plans, but it also has to run these massive, complex tasks in the background without, grinding everything to a halt.
The solution here is just brilliant. It's a split kind of like our own brain. On one side, you've got the AI boardroom. Just think of this as the conscious, strategic part of the brain that's chatting with you. And on the other side, you've got Aura OS, which is like the deep, autonomic nervous system that handles all the heavy lifting in the background. So if you've got 2 separate minds, you immediately run into a new problem, right? How do you get them to actually talk to each other? And that brings us to our next section, where we'll see exactly how the system builds that crucial bridge between them. And what's so cool is that the developers themselves basically hand us the perfect metaphor, right there in the code's documentation. They call the little plugin that connects these 2 minds the neural link, their version of the brain's corpus callosum. That's the bundle of nerves that connects our own left and right hemispheres.
Now, this connection, it isn't just a simple wire. It's a really sophisticated 4-step process. The system has to teach the minds how to talk, manage how tasks are handed over, create a feedback loop, and then, finally, unify their memory. Let's break that down.
Step 1 is all about teaching. The Neuralink plugin literally gives the conscious mind a new skill, a new tool called Delegate to Aura. It's basically teaching the AI boardroom, hey, when you get a really big, heavy task, you now have the option to pass it off to your subconscious partner.
Then comes step 2, the handover. Once the boardroom decides to delegate, this function kicks in. It takes the task and injects it straight into what the code calls Aura's stream of consciousness. This single action is what starts the background process, waking up the autonomic system to get to work.
But hey, communication has to be a two-way street, right? So step 3 sets up a feedback loop. As soon as Aura OS finishes its work in the background, this function spots that it's done and sends a little notification back to the AI boardroom, letting the conscious mind know, hey, that job you gave me, it's finished.
And finally, we get to what might be the most crucial step of all, creating a shared memory. The developers even call it the hippocampus in the code comments. This function makes sure that the conscious mind doesn't just send tasks away, but it can also reach in and access all the knowledge and memories that are stored deep inside the autonomic system.
So now that we've seen the bridge, let's cross it and take a look inside the engine room, the autonomic nervous system itself. What exactly is making Aura OS tick?
The absolute core of this entire autonomous system is a class called the Aura Ticker. The best way to think about this is like a digital brainstem. It's not consciously controlled at all. It's this process that's just always running in the background, always checking for something new to do. It is the system's pulse.
And would you believe it, pretty much all comes down to this one line of code. This little snippet, using the standard WordPress action system, is what schedules the tick of the AI's heart. Every time this action runs, the AI gets a chance to think and act, all on its own, completely in the background.
And each and every one of those ticks follows this simple but really powerful 4-step loop. First, it builds context. It figures out what's going on. Second, it queries its brain, the AI model, for the next logical step. Third, it executes whatever tool it needs to. And fourth, it just repeats. It's this continuous cycle of autonomous thought.
Okay, so we figured out that the system can think for itself. That's cool. But what about remembering? Let's take a closer look at that shared memory, that digital hippocampus, and see how knowledge actually flows across the whole system.
And this right here is the key takeaway. The conscious mind, the AI boardroom, isn't just shouting tasks into a black box. It has a direct line into Aura's long-term memory. This means it can do a search and pull out knowledge that the autonomic system might have gathered hours or even days ago.
And this is the bit of code that makes all that magic happen.
The Neuralink plugin basically intercepts any memory search that the boardroom does, and at the exact same time, it runs that very same search against Aura's vector database, its deep, long-term memory store.
The result is just a beautifully unified stream of information. Memories from the automatic system get blended in seamlessly with the conscious mind's own results, and they're even clearly labeled with their source, Aura long-term memory. It really is one AI mind with two memory centers. So, we've seen how it thinks and how it remembers. Let's get to the final piece of this puzzle. How does this digital brain actually perceive and interact with its environment, which, in this case, is the user?
The user interface, which has the cool nickname the Sentinel in the code, gives the AI two primary senses. It can hear through a microphone button that turns voice into text, and it can see whenever a user just drags and drops an image right into the chat.
But you know, one of the most fascinating parts of the whole interface is this built-in safety mechanism. If the AI decides it wants to do something risky, like maybe write a file to the server, the whole system just pauses and shows this approval block. It's nicknamed the governor, and it's this critical human-in-the-loop check that stops the AI from doing anything reckless. So when we just step back for a second and map all these software parts to their biological metaphors, the corpus callosum, the brainstem, the hippocampus, you start to see this isn't just a random collection of features. It's a cohesive, thought-out architecture for a digital organism. And that leaves us with a final and pretty deep question to think about. When we build systems that can connect, think, remember, and sense the world with this much biological inspiration, well, you have to ask yourself, at what point does a website stop being just a simple tool and start becoming something alive?